8 people are there right now.
Oh, that is really nice. Can you show that frame once to all? Ah, good. So, Mayank, as we are live also, so Excellency, with your permission, can we start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, welcome you all for this interactive session which we are having today with our brand Grace Virtual Expo and Global Residency and Citizenship Opportunities. We are really thankful to all our esteemed panelists today, starting with His Excellency Mr. Ruben Gaussi, the High Commissioner of Republic of Malta, who has always been very supportive and very kind. And whenever we have met him, we have always got a very warm welcome from him. He is always supportive. So thank you, Excellency, for all the support and guidance you have been giving us. We really appreciate that, sir.
Thank you very much.
We also have with us Mr. Charles Mizzi, the Chief Executive Officer, Residency Malta. Thank you, Mr. Charles, for joining us today. We also have our very dear friend, Mr. Ashish Saraf, the founder, CEO of Aretha Capital Partners. Ashish, thank you very much for sparing your time and being with us today. Thank you very much. And we also have Mr. Samuel Scrivers, the legal associate of PKF Malta. Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for sparing your time and being with us. And soon we'll be joined by our other colleagues as well. And I also have my colleague, Mr. Mayank Chatwal, who is the person who has been handling this event for the last 2 years, I would say. And you all are familiar with him. He has been coordinating with you. And since morning, I am really happy to share with you all that 11 o'clock India time when we started the exhibition, virtual exhibition. So response is good. People are getting some queries, some meetings are going on. We'll be able to give you more update by the end of the day today, so that tomorrow again a lot of meetings can happen. So now, to take this further, so I once again welcome all distinguished guests and learned audience on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I welcome you all to the third edition of Grace Virtual Expo interactive session on global residency and citizen opportunities. This is basically from Bangalore. We are trying to cover up. A lot of people from Bangalore have also joined in this. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to all our sponsors, starting from our associate sponsors, PK of Malta, our conference partners, Aretha Capital, Residency Malta, Enterprise Estonia, and Global RCG, exhibiting partner, Golden Gate Global, and our supporting partner, Embassy of the Czech Republic, New Delhi, Malta High Commission, New Delhi, Aretha Capital Partners, Invest in the USA, II USA, Ajmera Law Group, Krypton Global Investments, and Equest Advisors, and our media partners for extending his support in organizing this interactive session on much talked about subject in the current market scenario. Due to the pandemic, the overall international investment has taken a big hit, but at the same time, the future seems to be quite promising. The US is and will remain the world's dominant wealth hub over our forecast period. But Asia will see the fastest growth in UHNWIs over the next 5 years at 39% compared with the 27% global average. Asia tops the 5-year UHNWI growth forecast with 39%, led by India on 63%. At present, India is home to 6884 UHNWIs and 113 billionaires. The Billionaires Club in India is expected to increase significantly by 43% to 162 by 2025. The growth will outpace the global average growth of 24% and Asia average of 38% during the period. According to the report, an individual requires US 60,000 to join the wealthiest 1% club in India. The wealth growth forecast predict India's threshold of 1%, the wealthiest club, to almost double in the next 5 years as per the Knight Frank Wealth Report for 2021. Asia is quickly closing the gap on Europe, and it is predicted that by 2024, it will be world's second largest wealth hub with forecast 5-year growth of 44%. Of the top 20 fastest growing countries, 6 are located in Asia, led by India with 73% growth, 5 in Europe, led by Sweden, and 47% growth, and 3 are in Africa, led by Egypt with 66% growth. For many wealthy Indian citizens, investment in real estate to obtain a global visa is often an attractive option along with the opportunities which the US EB5 visa offers. Our focus will be on residency and citizenship alternatives in majorly on Malta, Portugal, Canada, Caribbean, Estonia, and Czech Republic. At the end, I would also request and recommend all the investors to practice due diligence before making any decision regarding taking up any kind residency or citizenship program. With this, I would like to leave it to the experts from the industry to take things further in explaining the benefits of different options available from different parts of the world. So we will be starting our session today with Malta. So just to give you a very brief about Malta, Malta has been inhabited with since approximately 5900 BC. Its location in the center of the Mediterranean, most of these foreign influences have left some sort of mark on the country's ancient culture. The Maltese Archipelago lies virtually at the center of the Mediterranean, 93 kilometers south of Sicily and 288 kilometers north of Africa. The archipelago consists of 3 islands, Malta, Gozo, and Comino, with a total population of over 500,000 inhabitants, occupying an area of 316 square kilometers. Malta is the largest island and the cultural, commercial, and administrative center. Gozo is the second largest island and is more rural, characterized by fishing, tourism, crafts, and agriculture. Comino, the smallest of the trio, is largely uninhabited, with superbly sunny weather, attractive beaches, a thriving nightlife, and 7,000 years of intriguing history. There is a great deal to see and do. So with this, I present to you His Excellency Mr. Ruben Gossi, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta. Mr. Gossi was born on 20th May 1976 in Talpita, Malta. He joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2007, following a national examination to enter the diplomatic service. He is the current High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta in India from September 2020, resident in New Delhi. He presented credentials to the President of India, His Excellency Ramnath Kovindji, on 14th October 2020. Mr. Gaussi previously served as the head of the representative office of the Republic of Malta in Ramallah, Palestine in the period 2015 to September 2020. He has also served as Carrier Counsel General of the Republic of Malta in Istanbul, Turkey, and chargé d'affaires at interim at the Embassy of Malta in Lisbon, Portugal. Prior to being posted abroad, he served in the Directorate of External Relations and Mediterranean Affairs and the Directorate of Protocol and Consular Services. He completed a BA at the University of Malta in 1997. He also completed an MA in Human Rights and Democratization in 2004 and an MA in European Studies in 2008, both at the University of Malta. He is fluent in Maltese, English, Italian, and Russian. So I request His Excellency Mr. Ruben Gossi to give us more detail on Malta.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. So it is my greatest pleasure, as always, to participate in such events. And first and foremost, let me say how honored I am to see that PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry is interested in my country. I remember vividly when I visited your office some time ago, and I also remember your big seminar in which I spoke just before the unfortunate second wave broke out. So that seminar, I really enjoyed it because at least I could speak to a live audience. So, you know, that was something which really, because that's, after all, that's diplomacy, right? Meeting people face to face. And when we speak about residents, it means that we are ready to welcome people in our country, in this case, Malta. So I'm very happy to be able to promote Malta in India and to have as much as possible Indian nationals visiting Malta, investing in Malta, and getting their residence in Malta. obviously, this COVID-19 time is a problem for everyone. Just up until recently, I'm answering emails about visas, people who want to visit. They are asking me what the regulations are, which unfortunately, due to the change, due to the changes which are happening all the time, the regulations change all the time as well. So I understand the problems that people are facing right now to travel, and also because even myself, I mean, I have problems, you know, in answering sometimes because the regulations are changing all the time. But God willing, we will get out of this COVID-19 period, and once we do, and even now, still, I mean, we are looking at ways how to be helpful to applicants, to people who are interested in a residency in Malta, to people who are interested in investing in Malta. So we are trying to be as flexible as possible within the limits of permission allowed to us at present. What can I say? I mean, you know, as a diplomat, it's one of my jobs, one of my many hats to promote my country. I really enjoyed the introduction which you gave about my country. You know, it is a small country, but although we have to say that for the size of our islands, the population is relatively large. The population density is relatively large. Obviously, there are things which we share with India. We share a common past in the British presence, both in Malta and in India. And in fact, a good thing is that in both our countries, English is quite widely spoken. And in anything, you know, I mean, people sometimes choose their residence according to the language. So it's interesting for Indian nationals to look at Malta because English is widely spoken in India, and it is also widely spoken. It is the second language in Malta as well. And as I said, the language sometimes is a features high up when people are looking for a residence somewhere outside their country. And in fact, even, you know, I mean, due to our British past, I can say that there are, you know, we share a lot of common standards, common practices. Our education system is very similar because it is based on the British system. So obviously, if a person is thinking of going to Malta and living in Malta, he or she would probably be thinking as well about their children's education. And the good news is that the education system in India, due to our British past, and the education system in Malta are very similar. And that is another reason why Indian nationals will find it a plus to obtain a residency in Malta. Obviously, but we always promote Malta as a bridge. So the first word that comes to my mind when I am promoting Malta is the word bridge. We are in the center of the Mediterranean. You know, we even used to have a joke by saying that the Mediterranean is the center of the world, and Malta's in the center of the Mediterranean. So we used to joke about that, given that we are sort of in a very for sure we are in a strategic position. And the joke would go forward by saying that we're in the center of the world. But anyway, but the first word that comes to mind when promoting Malta is the word bridge. Because what does a bridge do? A bridge connects a person. Now, for instance, Malta is a member of the Commonwealth, like India, is a member of the European Union, and is also a member of Schengen. So you can see that our small country includes in it a number of memberships which connect, which puts us as a bridge. For instance, like if an Indian investor wants to go to Malta and invest in Malta, his investment now is an investment within the European Union. So an Indian investor investing in Malta, living in Malta, is in a Commonwealth country like India, but is also in a European Union country like Germany, like France. I cannot mention the UK now because the UK is out, unfortunately. So one can see that the bridge, when a country is geographically in a pole position, obviously that would reflect in business, that would reflect in residency, that was reflected in many other things. So I see, I mean, I've been in India for almost a year, and I am astounded to see the interest there is in India on my country. I mean, the interest is great. As I said, unfortunately, these COVID-19 times are making travel a little bit difficult, you know, because both Malta and both India, we have our problems with this pandemic, like everywhere else in the world. And it is sometimes an argument, a discussion. I don't want to say fight, but you know, between us who want to promote Malta, we want, you know, investors to go to Malta, potential residents to go to Malta, and obviously then the doctors who are telling us, listen, we have to be a little bit careful at this moment because you know, the numbers could be going up, and now thankfully I hear that in Malta they're going down, and even in India they're going down. So being careful in a sense is a preparation for the future. You know, sometimes people think that, you know, the fact that we are a little bit stringent now in allowing travel between Malta and India is sort of like stopping, you know, the momentum. But in reality, it's preparing, it's making a basis so that both countries hopefully get out of the pandemic very, very soon, and you know, travel can go back to normal. So precaution is only a preparation, if I may say, even though it looks, you know, it looks problematic, but precaution is only a preparation for a better future, a better pandemic-free future, which could help, you know, people to visit both Malta and India, which would help interaction, which we really, I know that Residency Malta is doing a great job in attracting interest in the country. And India is one of those countries, as I've just said previously, given that we share a past, even though, you know, the countries are, you know, the cultures are different, I mean, the sizes are different, etc., etc. But our British past, which today makes us both members of the Commonwealth, has brought us near to each other. I always like to mention this, that during the time of the British Raj in India, most of the ships traveling from the United Kingdom to India and back used to pass through Malta, thanks to the Suez Canal. So, you know, it was UK, Gibraltar, Malta, Cyprus, probably, Suez Canal, and then India. So even though Malta and India are relatively far, but we are in each other's way, but in a good way. We are in each other's way in a good way. And I hope that this will continue. I know that the High Commission was, even prior to my arrival last year, as you mentioned in my CV, the High Commission was doing a great job, thanks to the hard work put in by my predecessors, whom I take this opportunity to thank unfortunately, my period in India has been marred by this pandemic. And I'm really, really looking forward that this pandemic period passes so that I can try to do what my predecessors have done, so that I can try to continue on what my predecessors have built since the inception of the High Commission in 2007. It's not easy because there is so much to do in any field, and residency is one of them. I am lucky to be in contact with you, PhD. I know that my predecessors have been in contact with you as well. And I even have proof in my office because I see a lot of plants which are given as a souvenir. So every time, maybe the Maltese, our Maltese colleagues don't know, but every time one goes to PhD, they give you a plant in a blue vase. And when I arrived, I mean, the first day immediately at the office, I knew about PhD because I was seeing the plants. And since then, I added some of them. I added some more thanks to PhD. So I know that my predecessors, as I said, have been working with you. It is my honor to have this connection with Residency Malta. I believe that PhD should be in connection with Residency Malta, who will guide you in what needs to be done, etc., especially in the case of high value residents. So I wish to continue. I mean, I can speak about the history of Malta, etc., but I think that at this point, I know, first of all, I am very, very impressed with the way PhD prepared itself about Malta, with the research which you did. And this is typical in India, I have to say, that whenever you meet somebody, whenever you meet an entity, a serious entity, they really, really do their homework well. And this definitely shows in the case of PhD chamber. So I wish you all the best. As you know, I'm always available, online, offline, most especially in person. I look forward to meeting you face to face very, very soon. And thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your kind words. And as you rightly mentioned, it was really a pleasure to meet you in person during March, when we had that PhD CCI International Week. That was one full week we have celebrated, inviting whoever could come physically. And we were really happy to receive more than 30 ambassadors, high commissioners from different countries who came physically to the event. And virtually there were 80 plus diplomats who came and attended the session with around.
Now in October, right, Naveen?
Yes.
In October there is another similar event, right? If I hear well.
Yes, sir. We are doing similar event in October, and in fact, in this month, just for the information, we are doing with UK on 26th and 27th of August. We are doing India UK Summit. So that is again a hybrid event, almost on the same lines what we did in March. Perfect. We are just keeping our fingers crossed that things move on comfortably so that we can do that event. Yeah. So we once again thank you, Excellency, for your kind words. And
sir, before we proceed further, His Excellency, I would also like to introduce you to Samuel from PKF Malta. They have been one of the driving force for us to basically promote Malta as a destination altogether. Samuel, if you are on right now,
nice to meet you, Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel, can you just open your camera and unmute yourself, please? Yeah, Samuel, you are unmuted. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Samuel.
Hello, Samuel.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Nice to meet you
all. I apologize for the camera. It's not very, unfortunately, it's not very sharp. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's an honor to present our programs and citizenship from PKF Malta, and also be given the opportunity to share such experience and knowledge among such an experienced group of panelists. It's an honor for myself personally and for my company.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Excellency, because as Mr. Charles has to leave for another meeting, so Samuel, we are just taking the liberty and inviting Mr. Charles Mizzi to speak first, and then we will be having your presentation. So Mr. Charles Mizzi is the Chief Executive Officer of Residency Malta. He began his career in the banking sector, occupying several roles in the marketing and business development. And in 2014, he became Executive Director, Media and Marketing of the Maltese Presidency for the European Council. In 2017, he joined the Individual Investor Program Agency as Chief Officer for Communications and Business Development. Mr. Mizzi graduated with a Master's in Business Development Administration from the Henley Business School. So I present to you Mr. Charles Mizzi, the Chief Executive Officer of Residency Malta.
Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. To start with, I would like to thank PhD for inviting me to address this webinar today. It's always a pleasure for me to participate in such events, which gives me the opportunity to meet new people and at the same time promote our program. Obviously, we are in challenging times, but thankfully we have technology which can help us to keep in touch in such times. As His Excellency said, there was a very good introduction about Malta, about our country. I would not be going into a lot of detail, but I would like to share some thoughts about it with you as well. As His Excellency said, Malta lies in the Mediterranean Sea, strategically located between Europe and North Africa. Obviously, we are very well connected with a multitude of air and sea links, which makes us a very good option for entrepreneurs who would want to invest in their business and diversify in new countries. Of course, we are a bilingual nation. English is an official language, which makes it appealing for visitors and for investors to look at Malta with interest. As a member state of the European Union, we have access to a market of 500 million people. And residents, including the prospects of the MPRP, enjoy visa-free travel across 26 Schengen countries. Over the recent years, we have recorded some of the highest rates of economic growth in Europe. As a result of the global approach we have adopted in the past years, attracting investment from around the world and trading with all continents. Despite our size, we are ambitious. To give you a couple of examples, we have the largest shipping register in all of Europe, and we are currently competing to gain a seat in the United Nations Security Council. We are also a progressive nation. We welcome people from all over the world and greatly appreciate the contribution they make to our economy. In fact, on a similar note, we have recently also launched the Nomad Residence Permit, which gives the opportunity to foreign nationals who work for foreign countries to come and work remotely from Malta, to enjoy our nice country, work from here, yet at the same time they keep their employment with their companies in their home country. Of course, Malta hasn't been immune to the pandemic, but we are optimistic for the future. Our economy remained stable and our business remained buoyant as the Maltese government put in place initiatives to protect businesses and jobs. Our resilience has been such that international agencies still give us high ratings, and the signs are that our economy will bounce back faster than many others. We have a very strong health service in Malta, and it too demonstrated its resilience, responding with agility to the emergency by providing first-class healthcare for people who fell ill during this pandemic. Indeed, the high quality of healthcare is one of the attractive features for people considering to take up residence in Malta. As you might have heard, in March of this year, we started a new chapter with the launch of the Malta Permanent Residence Program. which Samuel from PKF will be talking about following my intervention. However, I would also like to pay tribute to the Malta residency visa program, which was our first residency by investment program. From day one, applicants showed great interest in Malta as a country for second residency. They recognized all the attractions of our Mediterranean island and understood the benefits of the MRVP as a means to access multitude of great opportunities. Since its start around 5 years ago, we have attracted over 2,600 families, including families from India. These applications have now all been processed with the exception of very few, which are still in process because we are waiting feedback from agents. We are very proud to say that the MRVP was a success, and you have been part of that too. So far, it helped to garner around 60 million euro into the Maltese economy and generated around 300 new jobs. But most importantly, we have attracted hundreds of new families to our shore, who have brought new ideas, new investments, and contributed to our culture and heritage. Over the last 5 years, we have gained a valuable experience, which has helped us to come up with a new program, which will build on the success of the MRVP. We are confident that it will provide more value for money for our applicants and bring more value added to our country. On the 29th of March, we gave birth to the new Residence by Investment Program, the Malta Permanent Residence Program. We believe that we have crafted a much improved proposition that will give more value for money to our applicants. The family remains at the heart of the MPRP because it is a program that accepts 4 generations in one application. We understand and share strong family values, and this is why we will always put family relocation as one of our program priorities. The MPRP also offers access to Malta's property market. Indeed, those who choose to purchase real estate will enjoy a lower contribution fee. A new initiative we have included is that of making a donation to a Maltese charity or non-governmental organization. The idea behind this is to continue bridging the gaps between beneficiaries and the Maltese citizens. We know that time is of essence to everybody, so going forward we have committed ourselves to process an application in a time frame of between 4 to 6 months with the submission of a complete and correct file. In fact, we are already approving applications under the new MPRP program, and the processing time has been very, very good, and we are being much more efficient than we used to be in the past. Once again, this is a big improvement, and we have worked hard over the past months to make our operations as efficient as possible, ultimately to give applicants a great service. Of course, once in Malta, you are also always welcome to explore business opportunities. We have many thriving sectors and are always looking for economic expansion. We have an economic development agency that exists to help and provide financial support to new businesses and expanding ventures, which is called Malta Enterprise. In short, we recognize you as serious wealth and job creators, and we want to advance together. This will be a rewarding journey for both of us. I will not take up more of your time, so I will conclude by extending my invitation to you to visit Malta at the earliest, so that you can experience firsthand our hospitality, our lifestyle, and the endless possibilities that our country can offer you. I hope to welcome you very soon to our island. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our agents for the contribution towards the permanent residence program. From our end, we have made big efforts to provide a revised program that is more beneficial to applicants. Finally, I would like to thank you, and as I said before, I look forward to seeing you soon in Malta. May you all have a positive conference and a good rest of the day to you all. Thank you once again for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Charles, for your time and explaining the whole program in brief. And we really look forward to get more views of Samuel on this and see how we can actually develop on the residency program that has been developed by Malta. We thank you once again for your time. Now, I would like to invite Samuel, who's available with us. Of course, we have a session which is already pre-recorded with us at the same time. But before proceeding, I will just give a brief about Samuel. Samuel is Samuel is a legal associate at PKF Malta. Samuel is versed in application processes for citizenship and residency schemes, primarily the Malta Permanent Residency Program, which is MPRP, and the Malta Citizenship by Direct Investment Policy and the Global Residency Programs, GRE. He supports the legal team with the research on regulatory developments and represents the company in various seminars and conferences promoting Malta as the destination of choice. So with this, I would just like Samuel to give a brief overview so that before we can start the recording itself.
Well, first of all, thank you for that flattering introduction. Thank you very much. The MPRP offers interested applicants a lot of different options, especially when it comes to investment program and government contribution. It is, as Mr. Charles said, catered for the family. It focuses on each and everyone.
I think there was some network issue. Samuel, we are not able to hear you. So, okay. Miranda, if you can just confirm if Samuel is available so that we can continue with the recording in that case. Okay, I think we shall continue with the recording.
Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for attending this session with me. I am Samuel Shibarras, a lawyer from PKF Malta, an immigration agent firm based from Malta, Europe. First of all, I would like to thank Global Residency and Citizenship Expo for this incredible opportunity. It is an honor for me to meet you all and provide you with a brief overview of the Maltese immigration programs available for each and every one of you. As some of you may already be aware, the Maltese government has officially replaced, amended, and improved upon the former program, colloquially dubbed as the Permanent Residence Program, by the new Malta Permanent Residency Program, the MPRP, formally taking effect recently, last March 2021. A few words about our island. The Republic of Malta is located in the central Mediterranean region, south of the Italian island of Sicily. The Maltese Archipelago consists of 3 main islands, Malta, Gozo, and Comino, which are all inhabited. Together, they cover an area of around 300 square meters inland, making it one of the world's smallest states and the smallest member state of the European Union. Malta is host to various tourist attractions and to 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including the megalithic temples, seen here, dating back to thousands of years before the famous pyramids were actually built, and our capital city of Valletta, with its rich military history and fortifications, boasting some of Europe's finest work of arts, churches, and palaces. Due to our great strategic location, Malta was ruled by major world powers and was colonized by the British Empire for approximately 200 years. In 1964, Malta obtained independence from the United Kingdom and became a republic in 1974, finally joining the European Union in 2004 and the Eurozone in 2008. Since 2007, we have also been part of the Schengen Agreement. Besides, Malta has an electric and rich cosmopolitan life, a warm climate, and is surrounded by the clearest blue Mediterranean Sea. It has also been recently voted one of the top 3 places to live in the world by the international expat community. Over the years, Malta has attracted foreign businesses in the financial services sector, gaming and ICT industry, and the shipping and aviation sphere. As of 2021, Malta is one of the fastest growing economies in Europe, having zero deficit and one of the lowest unemployment rates in the whole European Union. The country is a meeting place of cultures, a place for both business and pleasure. We at PKF Malta have been heavily involved in the immigration sector since the introduction of the residency and visa programs, the permanent residence program, back in 2015, being registered as a qualified, authorized, accredited agent, and we can proudly say that we have a 100% success track record when it comes to processing permanent residency applications. We have an actual ongoing application and process for the Citizenship by Direct Investment, the Passport Policy Program, for an ultra-high net worth family Indian national applicant going on, which is currently in the second stage of the process. After several years of experience, today we enjoy a strong and fruitful relationship with all the authorities and the relevant regulators, and we are familiar with the niceties, and we know the ins and outs of all the challenges and context, and we can confidently assist and secure you a successful application for all the interested investors. Due to the common heritage shared between India and Malta, especially due to the Commonwealth membership, both countries enjoy a friendly and cordial bilateral relationship, holding same values and goals when it comes to democracy, human rights, free trade, the rule of law, and world peace. Malta being a freight transit ship point, financial center, and an ICT hub, there is a scope for Indian companies to enter Malta in these fields, to partner up with the Maltese companies, or to provide exclusive services. Aurobindo Pharma, for example, an Indian company which commenced operation in Malta back in 2009, is now one of the largest facilities in Europe. A cultural agreement between both countries was signed back in 1992 and remains in force till today. Cultural events like film festivals, food festivals, and performances of Indian cultural troupes are organized by the High Commission in Malta. The Maltese culture is also very, very appreciative of the Indian cuisine, with an abundance of Indian restaurants in our islands. The High Commission also celebrates International Day of Yoga every year, which sees enthusiasts participate by both members of the Indian community as well as Maltese citizens. The Indian naval ships also regularly visit our island on goodwill visits. From our end, we at PKF Malta have a lot of years of experience when it comes to dealing with foreign investments deriving from India to Malta. We have conducted several international roadshows promoting immigration programs, including citizenship and permanent residency programs across India, speaking at conferences, meetings, and events proposing Malta as a jurisdiction of choice. And we have also been hosts for numerous delegations visits to Malta from all over the world. During our trip to Ahmedabad in February 2019, attending a conference promoting Malta as a destination of residency, we got to tour round a bit during the week-long stay and sampled some of the delicious local cuisine, visited Mahatma Gandhi's ashram and the market close by to immerse fully ourselves in the rich culture of the place. We do look forward to the day when the pandemic ends and we visit your beautiful country once again. Malta offers a wide range of citizenship and residency programs to interested high net worth individuals. The immigration solutions offered by the government of Malta include the Global Residency Program, the passport programs, former MIP, now the granting of citizenship for exceptional services, and the permanent residency program, the former MRVP, now the MPRP. Now, let's get into the residency program itself. The MPRP offers you the following benefits: the right to live, settle, work, and stay indefinitely in the Maltese Islands, access to high-quality British education and English language school hubs due to Malta's past as a British colony, The standard of education in Malta is very, very high, and exams are introduced to pupils at a very early stage. Access to a highly reputed healthcare system, and the needs an efficient way of investment in real estate and market opportunities. MPRP also offers you a permanent residency in EU's leading country when it comes to LGBTIQ equality rights, and a visa-free travel within the Schengen area with a right to stay in one place for up to 90 days within 6 months. Schengen, being the EU's passport-free travel area, covers 26 countries. Free movement offers the right to live, study, work, and retire anyway in the whole European Union. It is possibly the most tangible achievement of the European integration. Now, let's get into the specific investments requirements. The first requirement is property investment. One can either buy a property worth minimum of 350,000 euros for a property situated in the north of Malta, or invest in a 300,000 euro worth for a property situated in Gozo or the south of Malta, or alternatively can rent a property worth minimum of 12,000 per annum for a property situated in the north of Malta, or a property rented for 10,000 per annum for a property situated in Gozo or in the south of Malta. This purchased or rented property has to be held for at least 5 years, after which residential property would be required. Step 2 would be the government contribution. A 58,000 government contribution is required if one chooses to rent a property, or a 28,000 euro government contribution is required if one chooses to purchase a property. This contribution has to be settled within 8 months following the issuance of the letter of approval in principle, and can also be paid in tranches. There is also a donation, a 2,000 euro donation to a local registered philanthropic, cultural, sport, scientific, animal welfare, or artistic non-governmental organization, or society registered with the Commissioner for Voluntary Organizations, or as otherwise approved by the agency, is also needed. Step 4, the non-refundable administration fee. A non-refundable administration fee of 40,000 euros is also needed. However, only an initial fee of 10,000 euro of these 40,000 euro is to be settled within 1 month upon submission, and the remaining 30,000 euro will have to be settled within 2 months following the issuance of the letter of approval in principle. Finally, there is also a health insurance needed. However, there has been a change and now only requires to cover the Maltese jurisdiction and not the whole European Union. Process and timeline. The process takes approximately between 4 to 6 months. This process includes a full application submission, part of it can be carried out online, an enhanced 4-year customer due diligence carried out by the regulator, the approval in principle or an unfortunate rejection, the proof of satisfaction of the investment requirements just mentioned, and finally the issuance of the MPRP residence certificates and biometrics for the residence cards. Based on the problems encountered during the implementation of residency programs for the past 6 years, the Maltese government took upon suggestions by the relevant stakeholders to revise the new permanent residency program in Malta. From the comparison table shown here, we can see that, in general, the overall investment in the old and new permanent residencies have remained roughly the same, but with some added advantages. It is also important to point out here that if the main applicant wishes to include any dependents to his application, parents or grandparents, there is a contribution fee of 7,500 euro per person. Some more eligibility criteria. To be eligible as a prerequisite, the main applicant should maintain a capital of at least 500,000 euros, which can be real estate, bonds, funds, stocks, bank deposits, luxury goods, or luxury cars. However, 150,000 out of these have to be made up of financial assets to ensure a certain level of liquidity. This is a prerequisite which needs to be maintained for the first 5 years from when the residency status in Malta is attained. Here is also important to point out that cryptos are not tantamount to financial assets for these intents and purposes. As mentioned, the insurance solely needs to cover the local area of Malta, no longer covering the entire EU area with a reduced cost. Large investments such as the house purchase or rental, the insurance, the NGO donations only need to be made after obtaining the principal's approval, and part of the application process can be submitted online, which heavily improves the efficiency of the application and shortens the application time, as in the past we could only submit all the originals in physical. Here we have some popular FAQs, some of which you attendees could be thinking of right now. At the end of a successful process, the applicant will receive a certificate of Malta residency covering all the applicants included in the application, as well as a residence card issued for each applicant with an initial validity of 5 years, after which period is renewable for 5-year periods indefinitely thereafter. While the certificate grants the applicants the right to stay indefinitely in Malta, the residence card will enable each card holder to travel visa-free within the Schengen area, with a right to stay in one place for up to 90 days in any 6 months. There is also no age restrictions when it comes to dependents, and the beneficiary can add dependents to the application later on after the initial submissions. A beneficiary may also be able to apply for Maltese citizenship by naturalization after having resided in Malta for a minimum 5-year period and continuously resided in Malta throughout the 12 months before the application, and for 4 years out of the preceding 6. The Maltese MPRP also takes consideration of all the important factors, and thus taking the most efficient and beneficial route for a successful application for a family of 4 members to obtain the Maltese permanent residency status. The total amount would be of €70,000. Furthermore, only the €10,000 non-refundable administration fee has to be waived before the granting of the letter of approval. Investors are also only obliged to make an investment in real estate after they would have received the guarantee that they have been actually approved in principle. An application can include up to 4 generations, including parents, grandparents of the main applicant or spouse, making it possible for a family to relocate to Malta together as one whole unit. There is also no minimum stay requirements, and the applicants would need to visit Malta only at the end of the successful process for taking their biometric data, and they are not actually required to spend any days here during the application process or after. As already stated, due to our strong British ties, Maltese are majority English-speaking, making it easier for foreigners to interact and navigate throughout our island. PKF Malta joined PKF International in April of 2000, having more than 480 independent and mutually cooperative member firms in more than 150 countries, with over 20,000 professionals worldwide, being ranked 15 in the International Accounting Network and an annual revenue of more than $1.4 billion. It is a fast and developing progressive firm where clients always come first, being based on a 5-point policy approach. A passion for progress achieved through cross-border teamwork with a clear action towards the future, ensuring the highest standards of quality with a strong sense of support and integrity. We are also part of the global PKF family, and there are also around 16 PKF offices in India, especially in some of the key areas of the country, such as New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bengaluru. We thank you dearly for your time and attention, and we hope to have struck an interest from your end. For further questions, please do not hesitate to visit our website or getting in contact with us via email. Thank you very much and keep safe.
Thank you so much, Mizzy. That was a very, very intuitive presentation altogether, and we are lucky that the virtual medium is so unpredictable that your net or the internet actually went off and we couldn't actually get in touch with you during that time. But the presentation was really amazing. I think this is the second time we are looking at something which is more concrete from that perspective. And it was good to see Charles' busy picture also in the presentation for one of the slides. I've seen that too. Really, thank you for this. And I think it is a very, very kind of a holistic approach that they have given in the presentation. And all the doubts are clear from a perspective of taking residency citizenship in Malta. And with that, I would also request Charles to basically support us along with PK of Malta to have more participation from Malta coming in the next edition, which we plan to do sometime in the month of November. And it's going to be more on the hybrid mode. To be honest, this is the second time I'm seeing such interest coming in for Malta specifically after Portugal that we did last month. Mr. Ashish Sharaf is with us, who conducted that particular program. And I've seen a lot of people having a lot of questions regarding Malta. I won't take much of your time. I'll just take quick 3 questions. And I would like Charles to answer this. And if Samuel could join in, fantastic. But definitely we'll be sharing questions on mail as well. So to start with, there is one common question which is there in most of our citizenship programs. It says, is there a fast track option for residency in Malta?
No, but the process is very fast. So the process is very fast. So we focused on providing a fast service rather than a fast track option.
Fantastic. So is the health and education facility is at par with the population in Malta?
Can you repeat, please?
Is the health and education facility is at par with the population in Malta?
Yes, we have very, I think, 2 of our strong points are the educational system and the health service as well. So the health service is considered as one of the 5 best in the world, one of the 5 health services, top 5 health services in the world. And the education system, as His Excellency said at the beginning, it's based on the British system. We have very good private and public sector schools here in Malta. And I have to say that those 2 sectors are 2 of the decisive factors sought by prospective applicants when they decide to relocate to Malta. Because obviously they know that they can give their families a better future, both in terms of education and health.
Absolutely. Charles, with the current times of COVID, people are actually worried about the health perspective specifically.
Yes, I can understand that.
That's something which comes in the mind first. And of course, then the second is the employment factor. So from the employment side, I think things are pretty settled in Malta compared to the population and the kind of the emerging requirements are there.
Yes.
Fantastic. So another is, which is the most important sector from the growth perspective in Malta?
When it comes to the industry?
Yes.
Obviously, financial services remains very strong in Malta. We are always on the lookout for new sectors like fintech, sort of gaming industry. These are sectors that Malta is investing heavily in them, but obviously we're always open for new opportunities. Because Malta likes to diversify, not putting all its eggs in one basket. But financial services, tourism, hopefully, obviously, when COVID is put behind us, to resume at its normal levels, and the gaming industry are the top 3.
Great. Thank you so much, Charles. That was a pretty interactive session that we have. And thank you so much, Samuel, also for such a beautiful presentation, which basically cleared all doubts. It was actually to the point, and actually it was covering all the segments which are required for taking up residential citizenship. With this, definitely Malta is on our hit list for the upcoming exhibition also, and we really look forward to your support and cooperation. Thank you so much, Charles.
Thank you
so much, His Excellency, as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Pleasure. Okay, moving forward, we'll be having a session on Portugal. So before we could actually start introducing the panelists, I would just like to give a brief about Portugal. Portugal is Europe's westernmost country, situated on the Iberian Peninsula and bordering Spain in the European Union. Officially known as the República Portuguesa, it is member of European Schengen area and uses euros as its currency. One of the oldest in Europe, Portugal was founded in 1868. In the 15th and 16th century, Portugal established the first global empire, thus becoming an economic and political powerhouse. During the period, often referred to the age of discovery, Portuguese explorer like Bartolomeu Dias became the first European to sail around the Cape of Good Hope, and Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India, thus establishing Portugal as a major naval power. Today, Portugal is one of the safest countries in the world, is a developed economy, and has high living standards. It ranks second in the world Index of Moral Freedom, third in the Global Peace Index, 12th in the Press Freedom Index, a member of the United Nations and the European Union. Portugal was one of the founding members of NATO, the Eurozone, and the OECD. Its capital is Lisbon and has population of just over 10 million. As of July 2019, the figures are of course changed now. While the official language is Portuguese, English is widely spoken in the capital and beyond. So moving on further for this particular session, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Ashish Saraf. So I'll just give you a brief about Ashish. Ashish is the founder. That's something that's one of the organizations we have recently worked with for one of the webinars in the month of July actually, and the event went really successful. All thanks to Ashish for his contribution to that. So Ashish is an investment professional for over 20 years and comes with an extensive background in securities, investment banking, real estate, finance, energy finance, equities, and commodities market. He is an MBA alumnus of London Business School. At Aretha Capital Partners, he works on setting up institutions' great investment funds for retail, H&W, and RCBI investors. His primary activities include identifying investment opportunities that align with the global due diligence and risk management standards. At Nuvi Technologies, his vision is to develop a global integrated real estate solution platform which connects all the missing dots in the fragmented industry. So with this, I would like to leave it with Mr. Ashish and take things forward from here. Thank you so much. Ashish, your mic is muted.
Thank you for having me on the show, Mayank. Appreciate the opportunity. I thought we were supposed to have a Q&A kind of a session. So as such, I have not prepared a presentation, but I'd like to touch upon European residency by investment, which is kind of a hot subject in Indian markets today. And as an Indian national, I believe that having access to Europe is one of the best ways to help the country move from a $3 trillion market to a $5 or a $10 trillion market in the next 7 to 10 years. And the reason I say this is that whenever I travel the streets of European countries, because we have businesses in Portugal, Greece, and Cyprus, I see every fourth or fifth shop or business owned by a Chinese business person. And at the very same time, we have this conversation going on in India that how do we compete with China in the global markets? The answer is very simple, that we need to move away from the comforts of our home and start expanding our markets. And Europe becomes a very natural partner in such trading opportunities. Because if you look at the global trading hubs, you've got three powerhouses, United States, European Union, and China, all three of them at a $20 trillion mark. Now, for India to march from the current GDP to the next levels, they need to partner with a friend like European Union. And I think the small and medium businesses in India can play a very big part in this growth going forward. There is an immense amount of opportunity in a wide range of industries, whether it's agriculture, it's manufacturing, services, financial services, fintech, technology, as Charles mentioned. Portugal is, again, a very happening place from a technology point of view. Lisbon always features in the top three European tech hubs after London and Brussels. So Portugal has a lot to offer. From a residency standpoint, of course, investors can choose any of the 5 entry points, whether they want to choose Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, Malta, or Spain, can be based on a multiple number of decision-making factors. But I think why Portugal has been attracting a lot of interest over the last few quarters is because of the flexibility of the program and because of the low entry investment requirement, which is in force right now and would hopefully be until the end of this year. Laws are about to change early next year at the dawn of the new year, making it much more expensive than it is today, which might become prohibitive for some investors. But to give you a quick snapshot, one could get the Portugal Golden Residence Permit, or the so-called Golden Visa, for an investment as low as 350,000 euros, which is not a big number today. Even if you look at metropolitan cities in India, a decent piece of real estate would cost you pretty much the same amount of money in Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore. So if you're looking at buying a second, third, or a fourth apartment in your own city, I would recommend looking at buying one in Europe, because it offers you all the same investment benefits. But on top of that, it offers you a permanent residency in Europe, which of course can lead to a multitude of benefits going forward. The motivations would be different for different families. For some, it could be education for their next generation. For some, it could be retirement. For some, it could be business expansion. But overall, European Union does provide you a very good platform for the next leg of the journey. Are you there, Mayank?
Yeah. Okay, great. So moving on further, in fact, there are a few questions that we have been constantly receiving regarding Portugal, and we would like you to answer though. The first one is, am I liable to pay dual tax on permanent residency or citizenship status for Portugal?
Well, Mayank, I would not like to say anything which can be construed as tax advice, but I think I'll just touch upon a couple of facts here, which we also spoke about at our last webinar. Both Portugal and India essentially tax on the same system, and they're based on the source of the income as well as the number of days which are spent in the country. Now, that is fairly common in the OECD countries as well as in the developing nations. So one would never pay tax twice on any income. For an Indian national, your Indian income will be taxed in India. And if you're going for a Portugal Golden Visa, your Portugal income, if any, will be taxed in Portugal. Now, if you have incomes outside Portugal and outside India, which then comes into the scope of global income, that would be taxed again based on where you are a tax resident, whether it is India or Portugal or somewhere else. And to become a tax resident, you must spend 182 or 183 days each year in that country. So it's usually a source-based income. And if you are deriving income from a legislation which does not tax you, like the Middle East, then you will need specific advice in terms of how to structure it, because that would depend on the structure of the company or the investment and your residence tests, etc., which needs a detailed professional analysis. We work with tax advisors across India and across Europe who are able to help on a case-to-case basis. But this is a very, very specific solution which can be resolved only once full information is available.
Okay, before proceeding further, I would also request our audience that whatever we are discussing here is basically for the information perspective of everybody. We are not exercising these policies and services in India as of now. This is all meant for the education and understanding and creating awareness about the whole programs that we are focusing on right now. So moving on further,
just to add there, nothing of what we are saying should be construed as advice, because you must retain professionals in tax, law, immigration, etc., to give you advice which are specific to your circumstances.
Absolutely, absolutely. So moving on, why should Indian nationals strongly consider residency in Europe?
Well, I think this takes me back to my introduction that I think Europe provides an opportunity like no other place as of today. And when you enter Portugal, you don't enter Portugal, you enter the entire European Union. Just like when you enter Malta, you don't enter Malta, you enter the entire European Union. And while you might take a decision of whether you want to apply for residency in Portugal or in Malta or in Greece or Cyprus for that matter, the key here is, what are the decision-making factors I'm looking at? Education perhaps is one of the key factors that people look at. So you might want to check out the kind of schools or universities that you're targeting. Health services is another key aspect, which especially has become very meaningful after COVID-19. So there's a very strong public health system across Europe, better in some countries than the other, depending upon which side of the continent you are in. Then it comes to the investment bit, that where do investments perform better? Portugal historically over the past decade or so, even after the financial crisis, it's been resilient. The markets are growing steadily over the past 5 years. Governments are very supportive in terms of new businesses, tax credits, and various regulations that they come on from time to time to encourage foreign direct investment. But overall, I would say it's a great place to be in. It's not very fast, if I may use that word. There's a very good work-life balance. People are very warm, and it provides you an access to a $20 trillion market. That is where you want to be. So if you're a small and medium business in India and you were looking at expanding, Europe is an ideal partner, whether you're an importer, exporter, manufacturer, or a service provider. You will find consumers for your products in that continent.
Fantastic. So next question is, what is the lock-in period of investment?
That's a great question. So in Portugal, as per the residency laws, your investment must be held for 5 years from the date you get your residence. So essentially about 6 years from the time you make the investment, because the initial residence permit may take about 6 to 9 months to come in. It's been slightly delayed over the past couple of years. It used to be much quicker earlier, but I would say 5.5 to 6 years is a good time period one needs to keep in mind.
Absolutely, and I think good things come as per their own convenience at the same time. So if you want really to have something more concrete and more fruitful, it will definitely take some good amount of time to get you the best of the results too. So the next question is pretty common in most of the cases. Again, is there a fast track option available for citizenship?
Well, unfortunately not, and I think it's for the right reasons. The path to citizenship is perhaps the easiest as far as Portugal is concerned. Every other program or country I know of requires you to spend 180 days each year for a continuous period of 5 to 7 years before you become eligible for naturalization. Portugal does not require that. So even if you're spending a few weeks a year, you can still continue to run your businesses in India or in GCC, where we get a lot of our clients from. Or if you have a job in Singapore, you can still continue doing that. Spend a couple of weeks holiday in Portugal and still be eligible for naturalization at the end of 5 years. That's the quickest it's going to get, but that is the easiest path. Anywhere else, whether it's the United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, even the other European countries, one of the key requirements to naturalization is please spend half the year inside my country. Only then you become eligible. And that becomes a stumbling block for any established professional or business person. Now imagine you're working in Facebook in Singapore and you're an Indian national, but you want your next European passport. You can't leave your job just to get your passport. Now with Portugal, that's really an option because it's a passive investment. You're making an investment either in a piece of property or in an investment fund like ours. And you just sit on the investment for the next 6 years. So it's quite convenient that way.
Fantastic, fantastic, makes sense. Okay, moving on, does it have a government approved investment and available financing options from banks?
A good question. Well, financing option is sort of counterintuitive to investment, right? So if a government wants you to invest, the government or the banks locally would not lend you to invest that money. It no longer remains an investment. Of course, there are clients who would borrow it locally. So if you're borrowing it from a bank in India or in Dubai against a property which you own, and you're then investing your money in Portugal, that's absolutely fine. But if you're expecting a Portuguese bank or a European bank to finance your Portugal Golden Visa, I'm afraid that's not possible. And in terms of government approvals, well, real estate is fairly straightforward. So there are a ton of real estate opportunities available. On our platform, Novi, there are over 50 projects currently which are available in the range of, I would say, apartments starting from 250,000 onwards, right up to 5 million euros. So it depends on what's your budget, what's your fantasy, whether you want a small unit in the city or a lovely beach villa. And when it comes to investment funds, of course, they are authorized by the local regulator, which is the CMVM. So the CMVM, or the Portuguese Securities Market Commission, it authorizes investment funds after a lot of due diligence. So if you're investing in any of the authorized investment funds, you're absolutely fine with it.
But something like a mortgage loan as well is available, or that's something out of question at all?
As I said, look, a mortgage is counterintuitive to investment. Now, mortgage is certainly available. We do a lot of mortgage for our UK clients, but then that is not eligible for Golden Visa because the investment needs to be without any charge or any lien. Now, imagine if I'm buying a property and there's a mortgage, it's not my investment. The title deed is not with me. It's with the bank. So that would not qualify as an investment and therefore would not qualify for the Golden Visa. But of course, there are mortgages available. So on your second home, on your third home, you can certainly, based on your own financial circumstances, have mortgages taken out. We work with several banks in the UK who offer mortgages to UK customers. And we've not looked at bankers who are willing to offer to Indian customers yet, but maybe once there is enough volume, there would be products available.
Makes sense, actually. That was one of the confusions which most of the people have with regards to the mortgage part of it. So I think that doubt is very much clear from this. And moving forward, can my children get education and employment benefits under the resident status?
Absolutely. So firstly, education. Public education in Portugal is free of charge. It doesn't cost money, but a lot of it is in the local language, although the community is bilingual and everyone speaks English, but the primary mode is usually Portuguese. However, there are a ton of excellent private schools, British American curriculums. I know quite a few international schools which are in Lisbon, Oporto, Algarve region, and they are catering to the demands of the expat population. Because let's not forget that even before Golden Visa, Portugal had a tendency to attract retirement couples and therefore expat communities. In fact, there are over 46,000 British nationals who are recorded residents of Portugal. And this does not include any Golden Visa applications because the UK nationals did not need Golden Visas up until last year. However, they would still buy homes on the sea or in the city as a second home. So the south of Portugal, the south of Spain, they've always attracted expat community, and therefore international education has always been available. In terms of right to work, yes, the Golden Visa in Portugal does allow you full rights to work, unlike some of the other Golden Visas, which means that you can take up a job if someone's willing to offer you a job, and you don't need an additional work permit or a sponsorship. And you're free to start up your own business if you wanted to. That's during the residency tenure. And once you're naturalized after 5 years, you have the right to live, work, and retire anywhere in Europe. So Portugal just becomes your entry point. And I would say, look, if I'm planning to retire in Switzerland 10 years from now, it's easier for me to get a Portugal Golden Visa today, become a citizen in 5 years, and then retire in citizen, rather than trying to get a retirement visa in Switzerland 10 years later.
Makes sense. Okay, great. And last question for you. Can I include my parents under the single application?
Very good question. European Union that way is very inclusive and family centric, unlike the UK or the United States, where parents are not welcome on these kind of visas. But in Portugal and in all other European programs, you can include minor children, major children up to a certain level who are dependent upon you, as well as parents. And you could also include your spouse's parents. So Mayank, if you're the investor, Portugal will welcome your parents and your wife's parents, all your kids under 18, and kids over 18 up to 25 if they are still dependent on you and in full-time education.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashish. It was really, really, really nice to have you for this particular session. And
Well, I hope it was useful. And of course, you can reach out, or audience can reach out to me anytime they want.
Absolutely. And for the knowledge of all, in fact, we did last session in July, and that was a really fantastic session to go with because the kind of questions people had, those were genuine questions, and people are actually looking forward for Portugal as one of their preferred destinations too. So keeping that in mind and moving forward,
I think the only point the audience needs to keep in mind is 31st December is a key date. So if you're looking at Portugal, if you're serious about it, it is now. Your decision making needs to happen over the next few weeks, unless you're willing to invest at least 50% more next year for the same benefits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashish, and we really look forward to having many more sessions with you related to the Portugal market.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Now, please allow me to introduce Mr. Rogelio Cáceres. He is the CEO of Global RCG Group. Rogelio Cáceres is the founder and CEO of the Global Residency and Citizenship Group, a US-based advisory firm built to enhance international access for successful, global-oriented investors, professionals and entrepreneurs who are aspiring to live, work, or retire in Europe, the Caribbean, the United States, Canada, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Rogelio to discuss in detail, and I believe Mr. Rogelio has a small presentation to share as well with you. Before that, I would request Mr. Rogelio to give a brief overview about himself as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for your time today. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Loud.
Perfect. I'm calling you from Estonia, Tallinn, Estonia, my first time here. We're investigating the digital nomad visa program, so thanks for the time. And always good to see my dear friend Ashish Saraf twice, I guess, in 1 week. So that's an extra bonus. My name is Rogelio Cáceres. I'm a first-generation U.S. immigrant based in Miami, Florida. I run a new firm called the Global Residency and Citizenship Group that spun out of a US-based regional center named LCR Capital Partners, which I co-founded back in 2014 and spent many, many years and many trips traveling all across India and the Middle East, as well as Southeast Asia, speaking to many investors from India regarding the US EB-5 investment visa program. As a result of the pandemic, decided to spin off from that organization and start a new firm that has a wider vision to help not only Americans, but folks from all over the world take advantage of what is a broad asset class, what we call global mobility assets. And those are either residency permits, citizenship, or temporary visas that allow you to live, travel, retire, invest in over 30 highly desirable destinations around the world. What we saw as we began to investigate this is that beyond just investment-based assets, those that we're all familiar with, the golden visa, the alternate passports that we're also familiar with, there are other methods that are also worth considering when deciding how to regain control over your mobility rights. If there's one thing that's, I think, constant across all countries, is that having one passport or the ability to reside in only one country is a risk that perhaps is not worth having in a pandemic era that is with us for the foreseeable future. And so now Americans who obviously pride themselves and ourselves with our blue American passport realize that having just one passport is not enough. And so as we began to investigate this, and I'm not sure if, is my screen sharing the presentation or?
Yes, we're able to see your presentation. It says our solution.
Perfect. Well, here's just a snapshot of what we do and the types of assets that we've uncovered. I'll skip over to perhaps the most interesting slide, and that's this one. As you can see, there's more than just passports and golden visas. Those are certainly great programs to consider to gain residency rights and citizenship rights in very beautiful countries around the world. But there's other options available for folks who might have a different circumstance, whether by your talent based on your profession, whether by your ancestry, bloodline, or just because you want to maybe live abroad for a year or less. There are options out there that we can help qualified investors obtain. And so this gives you a snapshot of this broad asset class. It's a $20 billion asset class as of 2018, and certainly has grown since then. And I don't think it will stop growing. I think folks here in the pandemic have realized that, again, being able to live, work, travel, invest, retire in more than just your home country is something worth strongly considering. I'll give one example, and that is the Australia Global Talent Visa. If someone has a master's degree or a PhD in 8 different types of careers, including, for example, cybersecurity, Australia will grant you an immediate PR right away without investing, without having to wait. And that's just one example under the global talent visa category that many folks I wasn't aware of, and that's available for folks. Germany is another example. The EU Blue Card is a program that's set in federal law in Germany that allows any college graduate from a set of different universities, which I'm sure many in India qualify, to move to Germany as long as you are employed either by a large corporation like Siemens or Deutsche Bank, or by a company that can be set up by a company like ours, Global RCG. Again, residency within 90 days of commencing that transaction. Now, India, unfortunately, the German consulates are closed at this time. In the US, that's not the case. So Americans are taking advantage of this and be able to move and live in Germany legally within 90 days. But that's just one of the programs that we've uncovered that we think is quite interesting. The last I'll say is Austria. Austria has a program that's based on passive income. That means if you have a certain level of income that is earned through your real estate holdings or through your pension or through your savings that don't require you to actively work, that meets a threshold of, I'd say 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 euros per month, and that's an estimate, but it's quite reasonable. Austria is accepting 450 and only 450 applicants each year on January 2nd of each year to live in Austria without having to make an investment of any kind. Now, you have to have the right counsel and right attorney, and there's other requirements, but that's just, again, an example of this, what we call passive income rentier visas that's quite interesting. Now, it doesn't lead to permanent residency, but it is a nice respite for folks who might be working from home and want a change of pace in 2022. So we're based in Miami, Florida. We have offices across the United States. I'm a dear friend of India. I've been to the country over 30 times in my times building awareness about the EB-5 investment visa program, along with Ashish and others. And we're here to help folks who might have an interest in exploring some of these other categories. And my contact information is here at the top of the slide. And I'm not sure if you'll be making this available, but we'll be happy to chat with folks as they see fit. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Rogelio, for the presentation. And I think we have really given a great differentiation between the different type of visas that are and the residency programs that are available in different parts of the world. But talking about Estonia specifically, we were lucky enough to get the support of Estonia for this particular event and the one we did recently in the month of March, which was a hybrid event. And they are coming up very aggressively with their residency program, specifically the one you mentioned about the e-residency part of it too. Really nice to see that the IT infrastructure there is going in a big way. And tomorrow itself, we have a session on Estonia for that matter. So I would request all the audience who are really interested to basically go to, look Estonia as an option, can definitely speak to Rogelio and of course try and be there for the tomorrow's session as well that we have for Estonia to go with. Thank you so much, Rogelio. And since we are short of time, in case you have any questions, we'll definitely direct it to you on your email address and you can revert to them directly.
Thank you.
And thank you so much once again. And we really look forward to have a a more elaborate discussion with you specifically on the nomad visa that you have spoken about. That was something really very interesting. So look forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Moving on further, I would like to invite one of my favorite when it comes to the residency and citizenship part of it. And of course, the real estate too. She have been really helping us in most of our events when it comes to gaining some kind of a knowledge in that particular sector. So I would like to invite Ms. Mona Jalota. She is the founder and MD of Krypton Consultants LLP. She is basically, prior to her experience with Krypton Global Investments, she was the director and international NRI residential services at Colliers International. And previous to that, she was the director international project marketing at Knight Frank India. She is INSEAD alumni with over a decade of expertise in sales and marketing and strategy in local and international real estate market. She has won several awards and have worked with some of the top developers across the globe, connecting them to the Indian audience intelligently. So this is a small brief about Ms. Mona Jalota. She has been a very influencing factor in many of the real estate exhibitions which is happening in India currently. And I would like to invite her and request her to take things forward from here. Ms. Jalota?
Hi, Mayank. Thank you for the lovely introduction, as always. I'm just going to, considering we don't have much time, I'm just going to start sharing my screen ASAP so that people can see my presentation. So let's get on with it. Is my screen visible?
Not as yet, ma'am.
Okay, hold on. Okay, is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, so thank you, Mayank, for the very kind introduction. To all my viewers and all our viewers there, Krypton is a small company. It's a niche company that particularly assists Indian HNIs to invest in real estate overseas and also to explore the citizenship via investment programs. Moving on. The introduction to Krypton is already done. I've already told you what we can help you with. About the founder, Mayank is already introduced. So let's, just move forward with that. What does it take to be an investor? Of course, this is something that is a topic of passion for me. And it is definitely a must do to understand the in-depth knowledge, not only of the laws, rules, and regulations governing the investments in overseas jurisdictions, but also the economic and financial climate of the destinations of the investment and the various opportunities that destination has to offer. Please ensure that you also, similarly take cognizance of the Indian rules, laws, and regulations, because until you surrender your passport, all rules of India apply to you. So just please keep that in mind. Why choose Krypton? Okay, I'm just going to skip over this because we've done some good amount of work. We've done good work for last, individually, I've done it for 15 years and Krypton has been in existence from fairly, in the know-how and how we can help you with. Today, I'd like to speak about USA because my colleague Ashish has already spoken about, various opportunities available in Europe, and so has the speaker before me. So I'm just going to focus on a little bit of a different market. With the EB5 coming back to its original values for a limited period of time, USA has once again become a very favored investment destination for the Indian HNIs. Some of the factors that make it so favorable are its economic prowess, the great American dream, and of course, the education system always continues to be a huge attraction for the Indian parent. We do, the 4 different type of investments in USA that one can look at is, of course, your second passport via the various programs available, your real estate, financial markets and related products, and business and startup visas. So these are the 4 different type of investments in US that you can consider. The 5 different types of visa categories in the US are EB5, L1B, EB1, E2, L1A, with the most popular of them, of course, being EB5. If anybody wishes to get any further knowledge on any of these other visa programs, please feel happy to connect with me, and I'll be happy to take you through the process. There's been a lot of talk about COVID and how, the markets have performed post the COVID-19. And let me tell you, USA real estate market has bounced back, and how. As a company, we of course, deal with UK, US, Portugal, Spain, all of the jurisdictions. But our last several inquiries, several, transactions and deals that we've seen have only been the USA market. We are highlighting some of the markets here in Florida. We can check out how to decide which real estate to invest in. You can do your homework, you can contact us, you can check out our property listings. We peg the minimum amount that you need to invest in US to get a good property is $300,000, and that could offer you a good lifestyle. So these are the various things that one can look at while investing into the USA. I would also like to tell you here that many of these visa programs or citizenship investment programs definitely are alluring to the Indian audience, especially after the COVID situation has happened. But I would once again remind you to be extremely cognizant of the Indian rules and the Indian tax laws. Remember that you are an Indian till the time that you surrender your passport. And even after you surrender your passport, all the wealth that you have earned as an Indian citizen is regulated by the RBI and is subject to Indian rules and regulations. So choose your advisors wisely, take good, rightful decisions. And please feel free to get in touch with me if you would like any more knowledge on any other jurisdiction. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was short and sweet. I think you have covered most of the aspects to it. And I think for more details, it's always good to have a fair amount of face-to-face discussion, could be virtually or physically, whatever is convenient and safe at that point of time. And coming back to, you have mentioned about the real estate part of it, it would be great to basically get an elaborate presentation again from you in the coming months, when we will be actually doing the physical exhibition in Hyderabad in the month of November.
Yeah.
We would like to personally invite you for that too. And we really look forward to continued relations with Krypton Global in the coming times too.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Pleasure. Okay, great. So moving on further, I'll be calling upon Mr. Paresh Karya. Mr. Paresh Karya is the CEO of Equest Advisors. He is chartered accountant with rich experience of over 20 years across banking, investment advisory, real estate, and immigration. He has worked with reputed organizations like HDFC, ICICI Bank, ABN AMRO Bank at the senior level in the area of investment advisory and private banking. Paresh is a thought leader and a regular panelist on TV shows on reputed channels like CNBC, NDTV. He also writes for leading publications and portals like the Times of India, Forbes, Moneycontrol.com, and Bloomberg, Quint, etc. So with this, I would like Mr. Paresh Karya to take this forward from here. I think you have a presentation to share as well.
Right. Thank you, Mayank, for that wonderful interaction. And we would also like to thank the senior management team of PhD Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity of participating in this expo today. Right? Yes, I do have a presentation. I will just share it. Can you see my screen, Mayank?
Yes, sir. So it's about to come. I think it's still sharing. It shows it's still sharing. So I think it's going to come in a minute. Yeah, it's available. Yeah, we can see. Perfect.
Yeah. So a little bit about our company, Equest Advisors. We are immigration advisors based out of BKC, Mumbai, and having offices across India. We have been providing immigration advisory services for some time now and have hands-on experience on various aspects like legal, documentation, investment, taxation, FEMA, etc. As a firm, we specialize only on business immigration and immigration by investment. Mayank has already said wonderful things about me, so I will just skip this and I will quickly get on to our presentation. Right, friends, we have been seeing that, immigration is a much talked about subject nowadays. It is like what real estate was some time back, or the stock market is, or the dinner meetings, social gatherings, etc. People are talking about immigration nowadays. And what is the reason for that? You know, what are the reasons why suddenly this topic has come into limelight? So let us look at it. You know, the first factor is that we are seeing that more and more Indians are getting wealthy. So as people become wealthy, whereas they have more money to spend, they would obviously like to give better education to their children and enjoy better quality of life for themselves. So it's this wealth which is driving up this demand for immigration. The other thing we have seen that our country has undergone a lot of changes, structural changes in rules and regulations over the past few years. You know, the compliance has increased, the governance has increased, and there are some people who are still taking some time to get adjusted to the new system. We have seen demonetization, we have this and GST, etc. taking place, and people are trying to adjust to the situation. And many of them have decided that if they are going to reboot them businesses, then why not do it in a different country? So that is another reason why the demand is going up. And last but not the least, you know, what we have seen, what has happened during the COVID time, the COVID, you know, induced fears, as well as travel restrictions is again driving up the demand for immigration, not only in India, but across the world. We are seeing that, you know, people are now looking at an alternative option. They have realized that they cannot be confined to one country, and they need to spread that risk across and assets across different countries, and they need to have an alternative to move somewhere should the situation arise. So all these factors have been contributing to an increase in the immigration inquiry. We have been receiving lots of inquiries from across the country, right from Punjab to Kerala and from Gujarat to Odisha. However, there is one thing we have noticed, that still there is a lot of confusion among people when it comes to, you know, immigration, permanent residency, and citizenship. So people are using, while permanent residency and citizenship are fundamentally different concepts, people seem to be using it interchangeably, and they consider it to be the one thing. So friends, let me take a couple of minutes to explain what is the difference between permanent residency and citizenship. Right, so you can see on the left-hand side, you have a green card, and on the right-hand side, you have a passport, the US passport. So permanent residency means that you have a right to reside in a particular country while being citizen of your home country. So for example, if you have a US green card and you are an Indian citizen, so you are a citizen of India, you have all the rights in India. At the same time, because you have a permanent residency, you have a green card in US, you can live there, you can work there, and you can stay there. Citizenship, on the other hand, it means that by virtue of the law of land of that country, you are a citizen of that country and you have certain rights and benefits as well as obligations. Now, coming to the moot question, you know, what are the benefits? Most of people are looking at migrating to another country in order to enjoy various benefits. Right, so a permanent residency will give you benefits like it will allow you to live in that particular country. You can work there, you can study there, you can set up business, you can own assets, you can get education, healthcare, social security, and retirement benefits. So virtually most of the benefits which one is seeking for through this immigration objective can be met even through permanent residency only. When it comes to citizenship, in addition to these benefits, you also get the benefit to vote. And also you get a passport of that particular country, which will entitle you to visa-free travel benefits available with that particular passport. How can one get permanent residency? Well, the traditional route has been through family sponsorship. We have seen a lot of people whose parents, friends are, whose parents and relatives are abroad. They will sponsor them and they will move over there. However, this route is becoming very difficult nowadays. You know, it's taking increasingly longer also to get permanent residency through this route. Same is the case with work visa. You know, even with work permit nowadays, it is taking very long time to get permanent residency. Hence, people have started looking at other options like business immigration and investment immigration, which are getting very popular nowadays. When it comes to citizenship, of course, you know, you can get citizenship through birth, through ancestry, and even the more popular way right now is after permanent residency. After you acquire permanent residency, you stay in that particular country for a certain number of years, you meet certain conditions, and you get the citizenship. And of course, the shortest way is through investment. All right, friends. So now let us look at what are the various options available for you for permanent residency and citizenship. Well, the panelists in the earlier presentation have already covered some of them. I will just briefly take you to some. The most popular permanent residency program, as far as Indians are concerned, has been the EB-5 program, which is also known as Green Card for Investment. This program was amongst the most popular in India, especially in the last 3-4 years. If you can see over here in 2019, there were 756 Indians who had applied, people from India who had applied for this, green card through EB-5. And we had beaten the Chinese in this regard. Chinese are considered to be the biggest market for immigration, but when it comes to EB-5, Indians had beaten Chinese in this regard. Now the program is very simple. It requires you to invest $500,000 US. This amount, the EB-5 topic of our EB-5 is very much in the news nowadays because this investment amount has come down from $900,000 US to $500,000 about, in the last week of June. So there are options available right now. You can still invest at $500,000 US. You need to invest this money in a new commercial enterprise or a new business. And the important condition is that your investment should result into jobs. So unlike other immigration programs where you just do passive investment here, in addition to investment, you need to ensure that your investment leads to creation of jobs for Americans. There are two ways in which you can invest in this, for purpose of a green card. One is a direct EB-5. So over here, this means that you will invest in your business directly. You will run the business, you will create the employment. This was a very old route, but it has not been very popular among investors. Why? Because first, you need to move into a new country. You need to set up a new business. You need to make a substantial investment. You need to pay salary to at least 10 Americans, irrespective of how your business is doing. And you need to do a lot of other reporting. And even after that, there is uncertainty. If you are not able to meet the employment criteria, you will not get your green card. So the other route, which is a regional center projects route. Now this route has become very popular. So it has been quite popular over the last 10 years. And more than 90% of the people who apply for EB-5 are going through the regional center route. A regional center route is simply, it says that a regional center is a private entity, which has a license from the US government to mobilize investments from investors seeking green card and channelize it into projects which will lead to economic development and job creation. So in terms of Indian context, we can say that it is something similar to a mutual fund. A mutual fund, just like the way mutual fund collects money from different investors, pools it together and invests in different assets. A regional center functions in a sort of similar way. So the biggest advantage of going through a regional center project is that you don't need to worry about setting up a business and creating a job. You are outsourcing this to the regional center. All you have to do is invest and you'll get your green card. However, there are certain changes which have taken place in this developments in the EB-5 front right now. While the investment amount has come down from 900,000 to 500,000, the regional center program, which is actually a program which gets renewed every 6 months. And this time it was due for renewal on 30th of June. But because they were proposing some more changes to the program and it could not get through the US Congress, the program has been suspended for the time being now. However, we are all expecting that the program will be reauthorized most probably in September, and then this avenue will be available once again. Till that time, the direct EB-5 route is still available. If one wants to lock in at 500,000, you can look at direct investment option. Now, the time, the EB-5 is considered to be one of the fastest way of getting into the US. Although it takes about 2 to 3 years, but it is still the fastest way compared to the other routes. When we talk about family sponsorship, it takes you almost 20 years or more for Indians to get into US through that route. Again, when we talk about the employment route, which is, through the work visa, you have the EB-1 and EB-2 routes, which again are taking forever. And there is a lot of uncertainty with regard to those routes. And you are at the mercy of your employers when you go for that routes. So considering all that, EB-5 is considered to be the fastest way of moving into US. You invest wait for 2 to 3 years, and you get your green card and move to US. Your investment is also refundable, and you will become eligible to get your money back after 5 to 6 years. Again, after 5 years of getting initial green cards, you become eligible for the citizenship as well. So friends, this is about USA and the most popular program, EB-5. Now, there are many people who are looking at Canada also for similar options. So we had the Quebec Investor Program, whereby you need to invest, which is similar to EB-5 in the sense the amount, however, the amount is substantially more. You need to invest 7.2 crores. This money is kept with a financial institution for a period of 5 years, during which you do not earn any interest, and you get your permanent residency in Canada in about 3 to 4 years. However, this program is currently suspended and it is not available. So it's likely to reopen again in April 23. Now let's look at what are the options available in other parts of the world. When it comes to Europe, Ashish has very well described about the Portugal, spoken at length about the Portugal Golden Visa. So I will not go much in detail in that program. I will briefly take you. It is considered to be one of the fastest and easiest way of getting into EU citizenship. You need to invest 350,000. There are other options also. You can invest more, you can invest less, say around 280,000 euros also in some kind of properties. You get your residency permit in 1 year. With the residency, you also get benefit of visa-free travel to Schengen countries. It's very flexible program. You need to spend only 7 days a year or 14 days in 2 years in Portugal to maintain your residency condition. And after you have met your residency condition for 5 years, you become eligible for Portuguese citizenship. Now,
just to interrupt, Mr. Karya, I think we need to sum up in 1 minute.
So friends, we need to keep in mind that when it comes to Portugal Golden Visa, there is a lot of compliance which is required, and this needs to be done even from India. So you don't need to comply only with the requirements of Portugal. You also need to comply with Indian requirements. Hence, it is very important that you understand these requirements. Now, the other programs, UK and Ireland, are not very popular because the investment amount is quite substantial. So let's move on quickly. There are other programs which are there where you get your passport. However, these programs are very expensive and not too many people are going for this program. The Caribbean programs don't give you much of benefits. They just allow you to visa-free travel to European and UK. Other than that, people are not looking at moving and living in Caribbean countries. Malta, the program is very expensive. Yes, it is a shortcut to European Union citizenship. You can directly get a past EU citizenship, but for that you have to make a contribution, a donation of 750,000 euros or 600,000 euros if you can wait up to 3 years. Montenegro is another program where you can get EU, the Europeans, countries' passport, but Montenegro's program is still relatively new and it is still not a part of EU. Well, we'll skip this part about business immigration. I will keep it for the next session whenever that happens. Last and not the least, Mayank, you can just give me 1 minute. This is a very important aspect whenever you're looking at immigrating outside India. Of course, you need to comply with requirements of foreign countries, but also you need to ensure that you are complying with Indian rules and regulations. Particularly when it comes to remittance under LRS, you need to follow certain guidelines. You need to document your source of funds properly to the satisfaction of Indian tax authorities. You need to disclose your investment as well as income from foreign sources in your income tax return. You need to plan your double taxations and tax credits. And also the important factor, like we were discussing, Ashish had mentioned, there was a question whether you can borrow. Well, the answer is no, you can't borrow directly in India or abroad to invest overseas, but through your business, there are ways in which you can do that. Right, friends? So with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you, Mayank. And you can connect with me if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paresh Karya. It was a really interesting presentation, and I know this subject is something you're passionate about, and you can go on talking about different aspects of residency and citizenship in different parts of the world. But of course, due to your time constraint, I think we have to really move on from this and ask our other panelists to also join in. And we once again thank you, and thank you for being the member of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry as well. And we really look forward to have many more interactive sessions with you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mayank. Yeah.
Great. So moving on further, I'll be calling somebody who has been there with us since our first edition and have been guiding us in different aspects when it comes to the residency and citizenship part of it. He is one person for whom we can actually write a book when it comes to his credentials, and he has already written many books himself. So moving on further, I'll be very brief about Mr. Prashant Ajmera. He's the lawyer and founder and author of Ajmera Law Group. He is a reputed Indian immigration lawyer, NRI and Canadian citizen since 1997, with more than 25 years of experience in the field of corporate and migration law, international trade, and assist HNI and ultra HNIs in obtaining residency and citizenship by investment. He recognized the future of residency and citizenship by investment and conducted the very first EB5 investment program seminar in India in 1999 in Mumbai. Mr. Ajmera is a member of the International Bar Council, a bar association, and has addressed the IBA annual conference as a speaker on 2 occasions. Over the years, he has also authored a number of articles for various media and publications. In January 2019, he published a book by the name of Millionaire on the Move, available on Amazon.in, and the first of its kind book for book in India. The book also covers the business immigration by investment programs and startup programs of several countries. In April 2020, he released his second book by the name of How to Plan Your Child's Foreign Education. Mr. Ajmera is a very active member of Rotary International. As the club president, RC Ahmedabad Metro, he initiated many worthy social projects for assisting and empowering the underprivileged and less fortunate members of society. He is a director of Wings to Fly. He is also founding chairman of the Rotary Rotary Means Business, which is RMB Ahmedabad chapter. So with this, I would like Mr. Ajmera to take this forward and tell us more about the starter visa for Canada. Thank you.
Can you see the
Yeah, we
screen?
can see your screen. Yeah, we can see your screen. So if you can request you to kindly enlarge it, please.
Thank you. Is it good enough?
Yeah, perfect, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mayank. I think you got my full resume there to give an introduction. Yes, we were together since we started in 2018, and congratulate you and Navinji that now the Grace and PhD Chamber has made a brand out of this one. And it's really, really nice to see you are regularly doing these events. Congratulations to you, Navinji, and your whole team who is putting so much efforts in creating the awareness about the residency and citizenship by investment in India. So today I'm going to talk about only one topic which you asked me to do it, which is a Canada Startup Visa Program. Let me give you this number, 75,000 crores rupees. This is not related to the scam by any bank. This is not related to the scam by any person who has run away from this one. It's not the scam by any political party. As we are in a virtual mode, I would say, Mayank, you'll be surprised that this much money were remitted by the Indian parents for their children's educations in 2019 and 20 as per RBI. Okay. 10 billion US dollars or 75,000 crores rupees. So that's not a surprising, because the phenomena which is going on right now, with due respect to all the previous speakers, the one phenomena which stays in the mind of the Indian parents is only one thing: children's educations and their futures, nothing else. Corona, yes, it is a panic there, but the main interest is always one thing, which is children's educations and settlement in a foreign country if they can do it. And in that respect, the phenomena which is going on in our country right now is we all believe that there is only one way to go and settle abroad, is study abroad and settle. But let me just give you a look with respect to that there are so many other things are there which you can look into it. Study abroad at the college and polytechnics. This is the data from the Canada which I've received. 86% of the students are going to study. They're thinking that they're going for a study for a PGDBM or post-graduation diploma. In fact, they are going to the college or a polytechnic. Only 14% students from India are going to the university in Canada. There is a third way to immigrate is a skilled worker migrations, and the fourth one is the business immigrations, which we have been talking about since long. And the fifth one is a startup visa program. So why I'm making these points to all the parents and children, look into your personal circumstances and look into the possibilities that with respect to in your personal circumstances, that what is the most suitable way for you in your credentials, in your finances and everything, and then go for one of this program. Now going to the next.
So you are muted, sir.
Yeah. As you mentioned about my book, Foreign Educations, How to Plan for Your Child's Foreign Education in 2021, the e-copy of this book is available on our website free of charge to all the parents in India and the children to know it. It's only 80-90 page. Please have this book, read it before you make a decisions about settling abroad. I know the people who has read it come back to me and told me that it has just opened up doors for us. So out of these several programs, what we were talking about, we're going to talk about the startup visa program of this of Canada. Why this program? This program was introduced only in 2013. And when this program was introduced, the reason was that if you are a founder of the startup idea, there was no visa available under the category of skilled worker or a business category, because they are working self-employed as a startup, or you are not a successful businessman, you don't have a lot of wealth, and you can qualify either of this one. So in that, the Canadian government 2013, they thought that we should have a special category for the startup visa program. And that's they started in 2013. And now this model has been accepted or implemented by at least another 20 to 25 countries. And the last one to join is United States. And even now they had a Senate meeting in USA to implement the startup visa program in USA. So under the Canada program, in one startup ideas, up to 5 persons or 5 founders can be included. It has to be outside the province of Quebec. The one requirement which is there, mandatory requirement, is only you should have a 5 bands in IELTS. No education is requirement as a mandatory. But obviously, if you have the bachelor's degree or a master's degree, definitely it will help. And you need to have a minimum fund requirement, which could be about 25 to 30,000 rupees. If you have a startup ideas or do not have a startup ideas, but you need an assistance in developing these ideas and make your applications for the startup visa program, certainly we can do that one as well. So what are the criteria for the startup visa program? The government of Canada realized that we are not an experts when it comes to the technologies and idea. So they appointed the government incubation centers, angel investors, and VC companies who were regulated in Canada and registered with the various organizations. They invited the applications and appointed them as the government approved people or government approved the organizations. So you would be required to make an applications to either incubation center, your idea with your business plan and presentations. And if they like your idea, then they will issue a letter of support. Or if they make an investment of 75,000 Canadian dollars in your business, then also you can receive a letter of support or VC investment. So you have 3 options. Your idea should be incubated by the incubation centers, or if there should be an investment of an angel investors, or investment of 200,000 under the VCs. Once you have been accepted by the incubation centers in Canada, which is there across Canada, almost in all major cities, you will receive a letter of support from this incubation centers or angel investors or VC. And that will allow you to obtain the permanent residency of Canada directly for husband, wife, and children under the age of 22. This is a very ideal program, particularly in India, for the people who are the age group of 35 and 50, because these people may be very qualified, highly qualified, but because of their age, they do not probably qualify for the skilled worker or an express entry program, but probably they can look into this startup visa program, which can make it possible for them to do it. The startup companies, you should have the minimum 10. It should be a new company incorporated in Canada, and you should have a minimum 10% of the investment in that or ownership in that one, and 50% accept the participating investment. So how the process work? The process is very simple. Meeting with our law firm, understand the client profile, and if you have an ideas, then we like to refine that ideas, prepare an applications, make a business plan, do the SWOT analysis, and make a business presentations on your behalf or a demo to the incubation centers. We also try to do a coaching with you, because some incubation centers say that rather than lawyers or a consultant presenting the ideas, let the founders of the startup present the ideas. And once you present that ideas, if they like their ideas, then either the business incubators or an angel investors or a venture capital will invite you. And they invite you to provide a training, because you are going to be a Canadian company as a Canadian startup. So they give you at least minimum 1 week or 2 weeks of training how to do business in Canada. And also, to many businessmen, they find the startup visa more interesting and fruitful than the regular entrepreneur visa, because here you are not going as a foreign company, but you are going as a Canadian company. So all the benefits and we call it the subsidies, rules and regulations, what's applied to the local company will apply to you, because now you are a permanent resident and your company is also a Canadian. So it has a lot of benefits on this one when it comes to this one. Once the designated center has given you invitations, then you will be going through the reviews, training, networking, developing, testing, and prototype to create a real startup for you from your basic idea or basic backgrounds. It doesn't have to be a technical company. You could be a person in a marketing, you could be a person in the sales, you could be a person in digital marketing, and can be a founder, because as we all know that when you run a company, it's not run by the same kind of people, right? It's always the technical persons are there, the marketing people are there, sales people are there. So they all could be part of that one. And then finally you receive at the end of your training and everything, a letter of support. And that letter of support allows you to apply for permanent immigrations. And if you are ready to move to Canada and start and run and manage your company, then even the government of Canada has made a rule that you can apply for a work permit, which can be processed in a 2 to 3 weeks time, maximum of 1 month time, and you can go to Canada on a work permit and start working on your startup. If you are not in a hurry or you don't want to move immediately for whatever the reasons, then you can wait for your permanent immigration application to come through. You do your police certificates, medical exams, language test, which is IELTS has already done it, and bank balance, which is about the family of 4, about 25 to 30,000 rupees, and then you can be a permanent resident of Canada. This is an unconditional visa issued to husband, wife, and children under the age of 22. Once you are in Canada, you run and manage this startup for a period of 1 year. If you are not successful, or if the startup is not successful, your PR is not taken away. Canada is the only country which gives you direct PR. The other 20 countries who has a startup visas, they give you only the temporary work permit. They want you to make the startup, your startup, successful. And if that startup becomes a successful in terms of the revenues, in terms of the profit, then only it might convert into a permanent immigration. So in that respect, the Canadian startup program is ahead of the other programs. Once you have a permanent residence of Canada, in 3 years, you can become a citizen of Canada. And once you are a Canadian citizen, as you know that because of the agreement between Canada in all the 3 countries, that means Mexico, USA, and Canada, you can work or you can do a business under this one. Formerly, it was known as the NAFTA agreement or North American Free Trade Agreement. Now that agreement name has changed, but it basically to the businessman and the to the professional gives access to these 3 countries. Also, many people are looking at the E2 visa to go to USA via Grenada and Turkey. But Canada is also qualified for the E2 visa. So if you come to Canada and if your destination is USA, under the E1 and E2 visa also you can apply being a Canadian citizen as well. So you can end up getting a 2 better citizenship. One is of Canadians and ultimately getting an American citizenship as well, eventually by doing the EB5 or other categories as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. This is my contact number. And the websites, there's a tons of informations are there on our websites. Please go and have a look at it. Obviously, we do the number of programs. Each and every programs you can do it. And also, as I mentioned to you before, we have our book there. If you want to download both the books, you can go and download both the books. It's free of charge, available to all the participants of this PhD Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Mayank, and thank you for everybody. And thank you for giving us an opportunity to speak at this wonderful program.
Thank you, Mr. Jmera, for taking out time for this particular webinar. I understand that you're already occupied with many other programs which have been conducted by yourself. And it is always a pleasure to have you with us and get your knowledge on the fact that you have been working in this sector for a long, long time now. I think that is the oldest when it comes to any immigration advisor in India as of now. And we are privileged to have you. And we are looking forward to have you again with us in the month of November in Hyderabad in an offline mode altogether, when things, of course, get settled. And we really hope and pray that a situation is much better and conducive for everybody to come physically.
Yeah, well, we pray that the third one is not there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajmer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Moving on further, I would like to invite Gregory Bayant. He's a good friend now. We have been working for the EB5 programs with him past with IIUSA. And he has been kind enough to take out time and discuss about the US EB5 program and how things are developing and what are the changes coming up. So just to give you a brief about Gregory Brandt, he is a Director in Business Development Asia for Golden Gate Global. Greg Brandt is the Director of Business Development for Asia at Golden Gate Global and has worked for more than 10 years in the field of television, media broadcasting and real estate at China Central Television, which is CCTV, HKS TV, and the Miami Real Estate Investment. He is experienced in business development and high net worth client management. He earned the master's degree from Florida International University and a bachelor's degree from Beijing Language and Cultural University. He is fluent in English and Mandarin. With this, I would like to invite Gregory to come and discuss in detail. And thank you so much, Gregory, for taking our time, and really sorry for the delay. Everybody is pretty eager to hear you because US is something which is coming up in a big way when it comes to the new amendments with regards to the investments and taking up citizenship in US. So I would leave it to you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayank. I really appreciate the very kind introduction, and a big thank you to the PhD Chamber for inviting us to this great expo. I'm very happy to be here. This is my second time to be a part of the expo. The last one was in March, and I'm looking forward to taking part in more in the future. Also very good to see some familiar faces here. I know a lot of the people who are on this panel, and it's great to see everyone's participation. My presentation today actually will be very short, and coming to your question, which I think is a question that's on the minds of many in regard to EB5. You're asking me for a crystal ball, Mayank, and I wish I had it. I think a lot of us wish we had it. But I think that overall, we share the same view that many have expressed already on this call, in that we are very positive, and we're very, we believe that the coming months, probably, hopefully, in September of this year, there will be some positive movement on EB5 towards the reauthorization of the Regional Center program, which is what everyone is looking forward to. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump into my presentation. I'm going to share a little bit about our company for those who are not familiar with Golden Gate Global, and then also share about the upcoming project that we have. And I don't know if everyone can see my screen now. Is my screen
Yes, it's visible.
Visible. Okay, excellent. So this is me. I'm Director of Business Development at Golden Gate Global. A little bit about our firm. Our firm was founded 10 years ago, and Golden Gate Global was started as an EB5 regional center in San Francisco, California. Since the founding of our regional center, we have expanded our platform to offer other investment products and opportunities, which I'll touch briefly on at the end. However, since the purpose and the main topic of our discussion today circles and centers around residency and immigration opportunities, I wanted to take a chance to highlight EB5 and the next project that we have. Golden Gate Global has over 1,250 EB5 investors. We've raised over 650 million in EB5 funds. And we're also very proud to say that we have over 850 I-526 approvals and over 200 I-829 petition approvals over the last 10 years. We were also very fortunate to be named the 2019 Regional Center of the Year by IAUSA. And IAUSA also works very closely with the PhD Chamber. We've done events together as well in the past. And that is also an avenue for us as an EB5 industry stakeholder, along with other stakeholders, other regional centers, and other different professionals in this industry to lobby and put pressure on the United States Congress to bring about positive outcomes for the reauthorization of the EB5 Regional Center program, which again is since June 30 of this year has been in a lapsed state. However, we're very confident that in the next couple months we will see forward movement on this. And at that time, we will be very happy to welcome investors who hopefully at that point, which we believe there will be a window for this, will be able to invest at the lowered rate of $500,000 for a TEA or Target Employment Area investment, which all of our investment funds are. I just noticed that the contact information on this slide is probably easier for some who would like to take it down in their notes to copy. Our phone number, our email, info@3gfund.com, our website, 3gfund.com. So please feel free to take down that info. A little bit about our background and track record. The EB5 funds that we've raised so far have been raised through a series of successful EB5 projects, including the San Francisco shipyard. We raised over $426 million for that project. That is Lennar's project in Southeast San Francisco. Lennar is the largest home developer or residential developer in the United States. We also invested $150 million of EB5 capital into the Sacramento Kings Arena and Downtown Commons in downtown Sacramento. And then we raised over $31 million for a project called Brooklyn Basin for the horizontal infrastructure on that project. That's a large master plan community in Oakland, which is right directly across the bay from San Francisco, where our firm is headquartered. And then our last EB5 project was a luxury residential condo tower in the middle of Seattle, right next to Pike Place Market, a very ideal location. And we were very fortunate to have 60 investors join our group of EB5 investors. So the next project on our horizon is another installment of the Brooklyn Basin project that I mentioned earlier. So our previous project was focused on the horizontal development of that project, and now this is the upward construction on that same project. It's a 64-acre waterfront master plan community that's directly across the bay from San Francisco and Oakland. Full build out, it will be over 3,100 residential units, lots of parks, a new marina, And it's interesting to note that this will be a very unique development in that it's one of the last remaining large-scale development sites in the entire San Francisco Bay Area. Project G, and again, we split up the project, as you can see on the screen, into several different sectors or sections, and Project G is the section that we'll be focusing on in the near future. There will be up to 30 EB5 investor slots there for a raise of $15 million in EB5 capital, job creation of over 2,000 for that. The good news on this is that this project has already broken ground in early 2021. And so the job creation, which for those of you who have been listening to the presentations previous to this one, you'll understand that job creation is very key for the EB5 investment process, as you will need to, later on in the EB5 investment process, you'll need to provide proof to the US government that you have actually created at least 10 jobs through your investment. And so the jobs has already started, the job creation has already started for this project. And it's about a 30-month construction period that will end in Q3 of 2023. The fund offering itself, a few highlights that I think are interesting and noteworthy for those who are interested in an EB5 investment would be that the previous horizontal infrastructure project that we already did in past years has an I-526 exemplar approved. And so we're coming back to that same exemplar approved plot of ground and that same project to do the vertical construction phases. The investor return is 1.5. It's EB5 mezzanine loan financing, so very secure structure. And as I mentioned, job creation has already commenced. This is a TEA project, so that means it's in a targeted employment area, and that means it qualifies for the lowest EB5 investment amount, which currently, as of today, is $500,000 US. That's down from $900,000 previous to the latter part of June this year. And we do expect that most likely this will continue for the short term into the future. So it's a great opportunity. If someone listening in is thinking about and considering EB5, which will allow you, your family, your spouse, children, unmarried children under 21 to obtain a US green card, if you're considering that, considering the difference between $500,000 and $900,000, I think it would be a very good motivation to consider moving forward on the EB5 process as quickly as possible, because as soon as the EB5 regional center program is reauthorized, then we are going to be ready on day one to start subscribing investors to our project and be able to help them in their process to get all of the necessary filings completed. The capital stack on this project, and capital stacks are very important for EB5 projects because you want to know that there's a good amount of developer equity behind your investment, that you're not just basically becoming the main source of equity or debt for a project. So in this project, there's $96 million of equity from the developer, $130 million of senior loan. The 15+ million of EB5 capital only represents a very small percentage, 6% of the total development project for Project G. And so again, this is also following our previous successful raise at the same site. And again, for those who are concerned about the redeployment issue for EB5 funds, if that becomes an issue, funds from portion G could be redeployed to finance Project H, which is in the same project, which makes it very simple. These are the highlights of the investment itself. As I mentioned, as of today, the investment amount is $500,000, and that most likely, according to industry opinion, will change sometime in the future. But as of today, it is $500,000, and again, once the regional center program is reauthorized, investors will be able to invest in a regional center project such as ours at that amount, if that amount continues at the same time as the reauthorization. Another point I'd like to highlight here is the projected total job creation of 2,000 plus. The targeted job creation is only 300 for this project, and that means that you have 30 investor slots times 10 jobs created per investor. So 300 is the minimum requirement, but the estimated total jobs creation will be over a 500% jobs cushion. That's very important because in the first part of your process, on the EB-5 process, you will be preparing primarily your source of funds and your personal information in the I-526 stage. But then later on, you'll get to the I-829 stage where your temporary green card will be turned into a permanent green card. And at that stage, the investor will need to prove to the United States government or USCIS that they have actually created those 10 jobs in the process of their investment. And it's important that you have more than enough jobs created in the project you invested in to give you that sense of security, that peace of mind on that side. Because basically what that means is that if you have an issue with your jobs creation, that means that even though you've gone through the entire process of getting your temporary green card, you could end up forfeiting it because the project did not create enough jobs. So we always try to create a great number of jobs in excess of what the target is. This is a term of 5 years. The return on investment is 1.5%, and the construction is in progress. So that means jobs are already being created. Just very briefly about the developer, Signature Development Group is a well-known San Francisco Bay Area developer that's worked on over 36 sites in the Bay Area. And Brooklyn Basin is going to be a revitalization of this part of Oakland's historic waterfront. And so that actual location, for those of you who may or may not be familiar with the San Francisco Bay Area, this is on the Oakland estuary. Right here, Brooklyn Basin, you can see the location there. It's not very far from downtown Oakland, but it's on the waterfront, and it's only 20 minutes drive from downtown San Francisco. And that's just a more high-level picture of the same location, located in Oakland, just across the bay from downtown San Francisco. And finally, the financial overview, as I mentioned, the capitalization here, it's quite important, I think, to mention that for investors who are looking at EB-5 as an option for global residency and seeking a gateway into the United States, it's important to look at an EB-5 project that does not depend on EB-5 funds for the success of the project. So this is very much the case. In this case, the EB-5 loan is a very small percent, about 6% of the entire capital structure here. And the developer is very, very well capitalized. And there's backstops in place for this capital. So the construction, and also there's construction guarantees, et cetera, that guarantee the project will be completed with or without the EB-5 loan. In general, that is an overview of our current project. And again, we're looking forward to speaking with you. Feel free to come by our booth. We have a booth at the expo. We'll be here. Myself and my colleague Chai, who is based in Miami, would be happy to answer questions. Come by, pick up a brochure about our project, and we would also be happy to have consultations with you and answer questions that you might have. And last but not least, we do as a company, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have expanded our offerings to include other opportunities outside of EB-5, including a purely investment-focused real estate credit fund. We also have a wealth management firm, and also we have some bespoke opportunities in equity capital investment in real estate. And last but not least, for investors who are looking to purchase brick and mortar assets in the United States, we have a very special partnership with Lennar Corporation, whereby we can assist investors in their purchase of actual homes in the United States. So again, thank you so much for each of your time. Thank you, Mayank, and look forward to communicating with you more over the next couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And I would request all the audience who have basically shown interest in the US market specifically to have a discussion with Greg at the Expo. He has a stand by the name of Golden Gate Global, which is the main company. And he'll be assisting you with any kind of information which is required when it comes to the EB5 programs. Thank you so much, Greg, for, of course, taking out time. I know you are up quite early for this particular Expo. And you have been constantly dropping mails and speaking to people around. And with this, with this, I would also like to associate with you in our upcoming editions and try to make it more fruitful with the offline versions as well, which is supposed to be in the month of November in Hyderabad. So hopefully we'll be seeing you physically there with a lot of people and footfalls coming in and actually coming out of the virtual arena at the same time, which is to its extent is also required now.
I look forward to that, Mayank, and I look forward to seeing you and many more at an in-person event soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite Mr. Naveen. Yeah, I would like to invite Mr. Naveen Seth to give the final vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mayank, for conducting this session. I think thank you, Greg. It was a really nice presentation. We really appreciate that. Ajmera ji, thank you very much. As always, you have been supporting us. Paresh ji, thank you very much for sparing your time today and being with us. We really appreciate your this thing. Mona ji, thank you very much. I was not able to be there with you all in between because there was another meeting in the Commerce Ministry, so I had to attend that. My apologies for that. But we look forward to have more interactive sessions with you on this, as Mayank has been talking that other series also we are doing. So we look forward to have you all in those so that we can have a continuity on this and we can create a proper awareness about these things. So I, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, once again, thank you all for sparing your time, and we look forward, because as the event will be on till tomorrow also, so we look forward to have good interactive sessions with you all there at your booth also. And I also thank all the participants who have spared their time today. And I once again mention to them that and request and recommend all the investors to practice due diligence before making any decision regarding taking up any kind of residency or citizenship program. So thank you once again, and we look forward to have another session with you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Paresh ji. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mona.
Thank you, Naveen ji. Thank you, Mayank.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.